across the sea of character sheets, deep in the forest of D20s lies the mountain of source books.
Welcome to the Mountain of Source Books. We hope you enjoyed your climb. My name is Jeffrey Vincent Dale, and with me is my co-host, Rose.
Hey.
And we're going to start with some news here, and then we'll move into our final thoughts on Spooktacular.
It was spooky. We're like way past the spooky season, so
Oh, well.
oh well, it doesn't matter. Anywho, yeah.
I tried to do too much.
Yeah, I know how you are.
Yeah, we've scheduled things out a bit more carefully for next year. So, next year we're starting with the spooky stuff before October.
Yeah, we'll actually be doing I don't remember. I don't have the list.
The plan right now is the Magnus Archives RPG, if
Oh,
it's out
okay,
by
yeah.
then. I believe it's supposed to be out by then, but if not, we'll do something else. We have plenty of options.
We have too many games.
All right, so getting into the news, kind of some weird D&D merch. D&D shoes?
Honestly, it kind of works, and very important detail that so they're advertising this as the son of Gary Gygax. Big important detail: this is not Gary Gygax Jr., who is a piece of crap.
Yeah, this is the less problematic Gygax.
This is Luke Gygax. I don't know if he's also not a piece of crap, but I don't know this, so that's the important part. I know the other one is. But they're kind of neat. I have issues with my shoe size, so it is always nice to like see something. It's like I wouldn't hate wearing that. That's not terrible. I won't, but I wouldn't hate it.
Yeah, actually, I didn't notice before. There is a link, and they takes you to more designs. I only saw the dragon design.
Yeah, there's a couple of them. They're all kind of the similar concepts.
Yeah, I kind of like the beholder ones though.
I mean, just eyes everywhere. Never stop your eyes.
Way too expensive for me.
Yeah, I'm poor. I am poor, and also I'm not that interested in it. So
Yeah, I don't like the idea of spending around $100 on a pair of shoes. But for people that like it, hey.
yeah, I'm not even able to do regular Chuck Taylors. So
All right, and then speaking of D&D, Chris Pine thinks there's a pretty good chance we're getting a sequel to Among Thieves, Honor Among Thieves.
I'm not surprised. It did well enough, though. The fact that he like actively is part of the project is okay. That works. I mean, he is the best Chris in the industry out of the 50,000 Chris's, so I think we have a good opportunity to like look into that. Yeah, so
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, we've made no secret on the podcast that we're all fans of it. We all enjoyed it.
I mean, I think I've talked about this before, but a good D&D movie is just something that like I needed so badly. Like when you run RPGs, you want a good movie to just be like, okay, I'm gonna watch this and I'm gonna get good vibes and get energy and feel better about running something. And yeah, it used to just be Lord of the Rings for me. And like that's a very specific genre of fantasy.
And they're very long movies too.
Yeah, that's also that part. Especially when you have the extended, which I do.
Mm-hmm.
Which I have never finished.
But yeah, here's hoping it happens.
Mm-hmm.
It seems likely that it would probably have a lower budget than last time, so I don't know if that would mean that some of the stars wouldn't come back, or
we'll see. I mean,
I don't know. Maybe they'll just scale down the effects work.
Worst case scenario, it can't be any worse than the second D&D movie.
Yeah, I mean, you'll hear about it when
very soon,
you listen to the next episode.
I am looking forward to listening to that one because that is. I've seen that movie before and it's not good.
Yeah. All right, and then the Adventure Time RPG has had an update.
Mhm.
So when they first announced it, they announced it was going to have its own rule system, heavily steeped in yes and as a concept.
Yep.
Which sounded pretty interesting.
I love the idea. I'm very curious how they're going to apply it because when you get to a certain point in rule systems where you're like, yep, anything goes, it's like, well, why do you have a rule system?
Yeah. I guess it's more dice based.
Mm-hmm.
But they've said that upon talking to the community, a lot of their feedback was that people would prefer a 5e adaptation over a new rule set.
I do understand the theory that like we know this works, but I would like to see what they do at least. Like give us something more creative because the setting needs something more creative.
Yeah, based on my understanding, it sounds like they're going to lead with a Kickstarter for the 5th edition version.
Okay.
And then I don't know if it's going to be like an add-on within the book or if it's going to be a separate release, kind of like what they did with the One Ring.
Mm-hmm.
But then they will also release the original rule set, like finalized.
It could be literally just with the Kickstarter where it's just like, well, we already did this, so I guess one of the rewards is this. Or they could just be like, I mean, we made a game, like we'll sell it, like it'll be maybe a lower print cost because we didn't expect people to actually buy this, but if you do want to buy it, cool. Or you could just sell PDFs because PDFs are there's not like a lot of actual overhead. It's a whole question, and I don't know, and I don't do RPGs professionally. I've only worked on one before.
Yeah, but I'm interested to see what happens. I mean, I'm probably going to end up getting it. I'm a fan of Adventure Time.
I mean, we've already committed enough to having too many games anyway, so why not?
I can't remember if we mentioned it on the podcast or not. Wizards of the Coast had plans for a ad-supported streaming channel.
Okay, yeah, I think we did mention that. We've talked about it. Unfortunately, that bleeds together a little bit since this is literally what we're doing is talking to each other. So
Yes. Yeah, so they announced that a long time ago, months ago, and it finally came out this week. But you wouldn't know that from the promotional stuff.
So I'm getting a little annoyed with people lately where it's like, we're gonna put this thing out, we're gonna put a lot of effort into this, make like an extreme like amount of time and effort into and money into these things, and then we're not gonna advertise it at all, and we're gonna get upset that it didn't work out well.
Yeah, it's to the point where I'm wondering if maybe the person who greenlit it left the company or got promoted and their replacement is like, oh, I don't care about that thing that they greenlit.
Yep.
It's that bad. I only knew it was out because I followed the official D&D podcast.
Yeah.
And that's on a hiatus now, so they're not even getting that promotion.
I don't know. I really don't know.
It's pretty high production value stuff, too. Just watching the trailers. I found the channel myself, manually going through Plex. To actually watch it yet because of the holidays.
Busy, yeah.
Yes, busy and lots of sleeping and lots of work. But yeah, so it's just baffling, really. I like that reasoning of maybe somebody moved to a different position and their replacement doesn't care is literally the only logical excuse I can think for why they're doing such a poor job promoting it.
So, like, I am tapped into this stuff enough that I should hear about this. I heard about it. I did not hear about it, showing up. Like, nothing. Literally, this is the first time I've heard of it.
Yeah, and it's been out for like almost a week now. It
Oh.
started last Monday. It's just such a weird choice.
Yeah.
We should probably end that here. So, now to move into our final thoughts on Spooktacular. I have a feeling I already know what everyone's going to be saying for most of this, but we'll start with the negatives. Get those out of the way.
And we all say it at once.
Yeah, sure. We'll do it on 1, 3, 2, 1. Combat.
Combat sucks so bad. Oh my god.
It was functional, but yeah, it was just kind of boring.
Like, you could make such a good ghost hunting story of this, and then when you get to combat, it's like, well, I have to damage it, and I only have like 2-3 ways. Like, you have to basically spend an item to have a different way to damage them, and that's just like, well, so I can do something else. And it's like, I tried like changing things up a little bit, but even then, it's like, well, then it's just gonna take forever to damage them now. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I always don't like it when it seems like, well, what can I do? I could attack, and that's the only action I could think of. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I will say, you could probably change the game up a little bit. Like, if this were like a ghost hunting martial arts story, this would be fun as heck. But the minute you have the like, I have a gun and I shoot ghosts, and that's literally all it does, and that's the only attack action I have, that's where we run into the problem. And like the ghost stuff, the use of awesome points, all of that stuff is good in combat, but just the I only have one action.
Yeah, there were items that could have allowed slightly more variation, but not enough.
And I will say part of it also was because we couldn't like chase it around and stuff because I did the thing that kept it in the room.
Yeah, that did limit options a little bit, but still, the system could use a little more flexibility to anticipate that, I guess.
That said, I like everything else.
Yeah, the thing that really surprised me, moving on to positives.
Yeah. We should take turns now on that one.
Yeah. I actually really liked how they handled health. Like in most RPGs, health is just you're okay. Oh no, now you're dead.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have any real impact on your abilities. But the way that this game handles it, how like say you break your arm or whatever, now it makes sense that you're not able to do as much strength related stuff. It has a tangible impact on your abilities.
will say to go against that, well, I do find that really interesting, and I do kind of like it. The one thing I don't like is also kind of it makes it. Oh, I feel like there's a word for this, and I can't think of it. Like, because they'll hit, you get weaker, and then because of that, you're just gonna, since you're already weaker, it makes you able to get hit more often, making you even weaker. So it's kind of just like builds on it.
Downhill slide, and I will say, it just makes combat go longer, which is the other problem. Because again, the weakest part of the game is combat.
Yeah, that is true.
And
I will say, yeah. Oh, go ahead, Steve.
Like, you can use an awesome, and we didn't really get to this because we're playing one shots. You can use an awesome points to like not get hit, which is what we did. But then also I saw that you could also use their awesome points to level up.
Yes,
So,
which we wouldn't have been able to do because, which I imagine the way you do that is you use them at the end of the session, whatever you have left, and I guess you gain more at the beginning of next session. I don't know. I don't know.
We could have got, like, if we could, like, we would have been kept getting awesome points during a session for doing things.
Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, in general, we didn't really need to because we had a big enough pool. It's like, well, that just makes it ridiculous.
But that also, I mean, it's kind of like a cool, do I take the hit now so I could get stronger later?
Mm-hmm.
Which is an interesting idea, but again, it's that whole downward slope. It's like, oh, well, I want to be doing something now, and then I can't level up because of that.
But I also will
Mhm.
say it lets you choose which stat takes the hit. So
That's
it's
true.
like that also lets you like, okay, I don't think I'm going to be using this ability for the rest of the session, so I can like sync that a little bit.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of neat things, and I love the dice mechanic in general, and I love just like the feel of the game, where it just like it felt a little bit Ghostbustersy, but maybe it was just the setting we created, but it felt like it had its own vibe to it.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think I would have liked it better if like you had HP and it's like, oh, after 25% life gone, you lose one stat. After 50%, you lose like
Yeah, like
if
yeah,
it,
there's like specific things that happen. I would like that. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, like a hybrid system of standard health and this.
yes.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I was going to say earlier that I feel like it would have worked better with a better combat system, but yeah, I like that idea better actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That
think
sort of
that would be
hybrid.
a good hybrid and work really well.
Like it is one of those games like the functional system there is good. It's just, it's a little rough around the edges and needs some serious like ticks in certain areas, but like it can be fixed. Like that's a good thing.
Hmm.
And with not a lot of effort either.
Yeah. So what did everyone think of character creation?
Pretty fun. I really like the specializations and I like how like quirky they were.
Yeah,
Yes.
they definitely threw some nice odd ones in there that kept things interesting.
It is really fun, but it is, well, I guess I'm always like, "So how will you use some of them?" But
Yeah.
you can. If I chose rap battle, I would find a way to
Yeah,
use rap battle.
that's a huge like there are times where you're just like I have to do a rap battle now. And it's also one of those things where it's just like I'm good at this. And you like use it in the most ridiculous, amazing way possible, and it's like, yes, fantastic. And honestly, I imagine there like could be a way you could like modify things if you can't already do it to give yourself extra specializations. So
Yeah, I think that would be cool.
Yeah, I'll tell you now. If one of you had chose rap battle, the ghost would have changed. Instead of being an old neighbor who didn't like new music, it would have been a neighbor who loved rap music and hated pop music.
Uh, that would have been fun.
the only problem with rap battle is that you have to be good at rapping, and I only know one person who can do that in D&D. My bard in my group is like actually good at rapping. Other than that, I have never met anyone who can do it. Like I know a couple people who actually rap, but they don't play RPGs.
Yeah, I cannot rap. I don't know. Maybe we could use some strange auto-tune filter to make us rap.
Oh, I love it.
We could
But
do
yeah,
like a insert rap here and then think of the actual lyrics later.
well, this is an audio form podcast, so we can add stuff in later. But
Yeah.
Something to keep in mind for the future, should the occasion ever arise again.
yeah,
Yeah, I liked character creation. I liked how you had the option of doing whatever you wanted, but they also had the pre-made tables that you could roll for.
Mhm.
Makes things nice and easy depending on how much commitment you kind of want to bring to character creation.
Yeah. There's also that because it's like, oh, okay, that's what we did today. Sure.
Yeah, like sometimes you want to play, but you don't particularly care about what your character's got going on. So having the ability to roll for it, it's a nice option.
Yeah, it's I do enjoy randomness, but not always like the best thing in the world. But sometimes you get gold, like literal gold in randomness. So
I think it's good for like, yeah, helping you go outside your zone if we do that.
yeah, like
Sometimes I feel like if you even look at what our characters throughout the RPGs that we played so far, you kind of see the three of us choose a standard trope lots of times.
patterns. I'm
Yeah.
usually a scumbag of some kind. Like I see. Yeah, so yeah, you could definitely play like different ideas and stuff like it, and it's not like
Yeah.
a super broad. It's not like super broad to the point where it's like difficult to do, but it's also like we were all different enough that it was good.
Yeah.
Yes. So, what did you think of the adventure that we went on? Because I partially rolled the story through one of the.
That's right. You mentioned that.
Yeah, I didn't go fully with what I rolled because I just didn't like one of the choices. But most of it was rolled from a random table.
No, that's pretty good. And Ghost Cat was the best. There's no like exception. Ghost Cat was the best thing in existence. The fact that there was a red herring of what the ghost was doing, and there was a cat there that was pushing the stuff off tables, is one of my favorite things I've seen in a game. It's wonderful.
I did love the Ghost Cat. Yeah, it was interesting because I was like, ooh, is it like we found out about that guy and we're like, well, it sounds like it could be him, but then like there's kind of enough other things we're like, but maybe it's not.
Yeah, I think the way it was described, it made it too obvious who it was, but we did get options that were like, well, maybe not. And that was nice, but yeah, it did eventually just being, oh, it is just that guy. Okay.
I do feel like maybe there should have been hints of some kind in his old house.
Yeah, that would have helped.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't think about that.
Look, RPGs are RPGs. They're
Yeah.
sometimes difficult. So, I mean, look, we had fun. That's
We
the
did.
number one and most important part of RPGs. We had fun.
And
Yeah.
that's the other tough thing. It's like, you don't know what we're going to do.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't prepare for everything. Just kind of wing it when you don't. I had more red herrings planned, but then you guys didn't interact with the customer at the bar.
Forgot that there was even a customer at the bar.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. To be fair, part of the reason is because two of us were not people persons. So
Yeah, that's true.
It ended up not really helping.
Yeah. Once we learned there was a Ghost Cat, we kind of stopped caring about the people.
Ghost cats. Sorry,
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that one.
we love cats here. It's a thing.
This is a cat-friendly podcast.
Yep. There's probably a cat over there in Steve's corner. I don't know. I actually haven't been to his house in ages.
I do have a cat.
Yeah, overall, I feel like of the ones we've played, this is one of the better ones. It has its issues.
Yeah,
definitely.
like it has its issues, but let's like compare combat in this to Henshin. Like, no question whatsoever which one is the better one.
Yes.
Yeah. No, this was fun. It would be interesting again to play longer, and then you will have to make like the choices like we were talking about, like, do I take the hit so I could level up, like have the extra point for leveling up?
Mm-hmm. That's a huge one. Is like leveling up would change a lot in how I play that, because I was just like, oh, I'm just gonna use my points willy nilly because whatever.
Yeah, and that's kind of what happened with just like spend point.
I will say it was nice to see you spending points though, because I've run multiple games where we had points and nobody used any. So
It happens. I will notice there's a lot of games that I've played where like players just forget that they have points.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like we've pretty much summed up how we feel about the game at this point. So I think we'll bring this to an end for this week. But yeah, that'll be all for this week. We'll see you all again in 2 weeks. With all that said, thank you for joining us. Careful on your way back down the mountain.
No trip.